Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. Today we are going to be discussing what the purpose of a Big Four interview is. But before we do that, we wanted to remind you that we have a book on Amazon called Big Four Interview Questions, and it provides 32 questions and answers to Big Four interview questions. We also wanted to remind you to subscribe to this podcast, share it with a friend, and give us a review. Thanks for dialing the Big Four networks. You will be joined to your conference call soon. What is the purpose of a Big Four interview? If you're going to go to an interview with a Big Four firm, it's probably good to understand what the purpose of the interview is. Most people just go through the motions with interviews. They think the interview is just another box to check off in the process of getting a job. That's definitely how I was on my first Big Four interview years ago. I was so scared and unprepared for my interview, and that's why I wanted to go over the purpose of a Big Four interview here today. Most people think the purpose is to go to the Big Four interview and try to seem as technical as possible. But how could you do that if you are just in college or you don't have that much experience? The Big Four know that you don't have much experience, so they don't expect you to be the most technical person in the world. You will be interviewing with a Big Four senior manager or partner who have been in the Big Four longer than you've been in college. But if they don't expect you to be technical, then what can they possibly be interviewing you for? They are interviewing you to see if you will fit with their company. They are testing you through the interview. Yes, they are going to ask you some technical questions, but they are mainly trying to see your thought process. They don't think of the questions that they are going to ask you for days or hours in advance. Oftentimes, they are provided the questions that they will ask you right before the interview or a day before the interview. They don't really review the questions that they ask you either. They usually just ask questions right off that sheet, in addition to some other personal questions that they might want you to answer. So what are they really trying to figure out in an interview? The Big Four are really trying to see how you are as a professional. They want to see that you can present yourself in a professional manner and answer questions in a truthful and calm manner. How can you do this? We wanted to take a break to tell you about today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Right Networks. Right Networks is a hosting solution for forward-thinking CPA firms, accounting professionals, and small and mid-sized businesses who want to move to the cloud. With Right Networks, you can move your business into the future, even with clients who prefer the past. Got clients who just don't want to give up on an older version of QuickBooks Desktop? They don't have to. Right Networks supports legacy applications on the cloud too. To learn more, give Right Networks a call at 888-417-4448. Extension 1. That's 888-417-4448, extension 1. Now let's get back to the show. To be professional, there are many things that you can do. You can register for your interview in a timely manner. You can get to your interview early. And you can wear amazing clothes to the interview. You can also have well-polished shoes. You can even go the extra mile and bring a professional folder to hold your resume, business cards, and also to hold your notepad. While in the interview, you can take a few notes around the things that you find interesting to show that you are interested in what the person is saying. You can also make eye contact and truly seem interested in the person you are interviewing with. Many candidates have trouble focusing if they think they've already landed a job at another firm. This isn't good practice, and it is always a good idea to keep all possibilities open. If you take an interview with the firm, you need to seem interested, even if it is a smaller firm that is not a Big Four accounting firm. Okay, those are the ways that you can seem professional in an interview, but how can you possibly answer interview questions in a calm and truthful manner if you don't know what the questions are? You need to practice some interview questions to help you understand what you will be asked. Even though you might not go through every possible question that the Big Four will ask you, you need to practice answering interview questions. If you practice answering Big Four interview questions, then your brain will get used to preparing itself for the many possible questions that you can face in a Big Four interview. You will begin to see a pattern in how the Big Four ask these questions. You can also practice seeing how you respond. If there are certain questions that you pause for a long time on when you're practicing, then you know you need to go back and think a little bit more about those questions. And you do really want to practice them because you don't want to sit there and take a long pause during the interview. Another good thing that practice interviewing the questions will do is help you gauge your body reactions. If you tense up during certain questions or you get really excited, you need to figure out how you respond, and you need to be somewhere in between that. You need to have good body control and composure during the interview, and that's another reason you need to practice Big Four interview questions. And one of the ways you can do this is by visiting our website, big4accountingfirms.com. But another way is to check out our Big Four interview questions book on amazon.com. And I'll include links to these in the show notes. That's all we have for today. Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend. You are now leaving the Big Four networks. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast, share it with a friend, and visit big4accountingfirms.com. Thanks for joining today's call.